Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jason from Home Care Marketing Pros. If you looked at the 2023 HCP benchmarking report, which if you haven't yet, I highly recommend it, you'll probably notice something very important about your marketing. And if you go to page 21, you see here it's the Home Care 2022 Top 10 Marketing Sources. Now, no surprise that the top is word of mouth and referrals. We all know, regardless of the business type, that referrals are a very strong component to any client development. But notice number 2 and number 3. And number 2 is search engine optimization. SEO continues to be a critical component to marketing. And then the third top 10 marketing sources is Google AdWords or pay-per-click. Now, we talked to hundreds of home care agency owners about pay-per-click and what to expect and how it works. And the most common question is, what should my budget be? What can I expect? So we're going to go through that today. I've created a PPC calculator that you can use, and I'll show you how I came up with the calculator and what numbers it gives you. So it can be quite interesting. And if you don't have this type of calculator, you really feel like you're just throwing darts at a wall and wondering what's going to happen. But the idea of PPC is the opposite of that. You can predict exactly what you're going to get, or what you should get from the amount that you're paying and the keywords that you're using. So let's just go through it. We'll hop right in and I'll show you some data on how we created this calculator. So some of the things that you need to know right off the bat, we have the budget up here. We're just starting at $1,000 across the board. And you'll notice that I have Sarasota, Florida, Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, California. And the reason for that is because cost per click changes depending on the density of the area. Or in other words, from Google's standpoint, it's a more competitive bidding process to get to the top of the page because there's more competition. More demand, higher prices. That's how that works. So we're just going to look at, for the sake of keeping it simple today, we'll look at Sarasota, Florida. And we're saying, if I spent $1,000 in 1 month on Google pay-per-click in Florida, I would expect an average cost per click of around $4. Now, how do we do that? How do we come up with the 4? We have lots of data. The first data set that we come up with is, what are the top 100 most searched keywords that would show customer intent? Meaning the person that's searching Google is actually looking for a solution for in-home care. So we come up with those 100 terms, and then we put them in what's called this keyword planner from Google Ads. And that gives us a range of terms and a range of estimated cost per click. So we're going to use the cost per click of $4. We've rounded up a bit. We usually see under 4, and in some markets, even around $2. But we're going to go on the high side today to be conservative. So we'll say average cost per click will be $4. Now, the nice thing about cost per click is if I say I'm going to spend $1,000 in a month, that's what I'm going to spend. So I'm going to go through that $1,000, which means I'm going to get 250 clicks and my budget will be expended. $4 times $250. So that means that 250 people roughly are going to, at the very least, see the name of my home care agency. So that's very important. For years, we've thought about the idea of driving down a busy street and seeing a sign, seeing a billboard. It's because we recognize the value of our brand being in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So that's the first important component to think about when looking at PPC. When you spend $1,000, you're going to get 250 clicks, meaning you're going to get traffic to your website and people seeing you. There's then what's called a conversion rate. You probably hear that a lot. And it can be vague to talk about conversion rate because a conversion could just be how many people came to the site and subscribed to my newsletter. That could be a conversion. So the conversion is what you define it. So in this case, very important to remember, what we're saying a conversion rate is people that actually would contact you through a phone call, through a form on your website, interested in home care. So you'll notice a very low number. Now, we've pulled some data from WordStream to say, what are the average conversion rates for Google Ads in different industries? And we see over here that they say in the health industry, 4.63 is a standard conversion rate that you can expect. So again, you'll notice a theme here. We're going to be conservative. So we said The high end, we'll say $4, and the conversion rate, the benchmark was 4.63 based on the WordStream data. We're going to use 3%. So we're going to say, even if it was a lower, significantly lower conversion rate at 3%, that would give us 8 inquiries. So that's just simply 250 clicks. 3% of that rounds to 8. Okay. Now, here's where we want to refer to the AP benchmarking report for 2023, because this is where the real amazing thing happens in predictability and benchmarking and understanding, are our ads of good value? Are they producing results for us? Inquiries to admissions. According to the benchmarking study, the inquiry to admission ratio, meaning of those 8 people, how many become actual customers or clients? 38.4%. So 38.4% of 8 gives you new clients 3. So you follow me so far? We've spent $1,000 with an average cost per click of $4, means we'll get 250 clicks. With a conversion rate of 3%, that means 8 inquiries for care. 38.4% of those inquiries will turn into customers, which means I spend $1,000, I get 3 new clients. Now that would put our cost per acquisition at $333. Now, if we look at the benchmarking study again, we'll see on page 23, that's where we got the inquiry to admission ratio. And then here, cost per acquisition. On page 23, there's the median customer acquisition cost, which is $529. So this is coming in on the low end. And then where do we get this average lifetime value? On page 158 of the benchmarking report, the 75th percentile says $25,882 would be the average lifetime value of a client. So again, we're going to go very low end and we'll say average lifetime value, $15,000. So if I got 3 clients and they're worth $15,000, I could look at potentially $45,000 in revenue. If I use $25,000, we're talking about $75,000 in revenue. So for the calculator, we'll just say $45,000. So let's walk through this and let me know if you want a copy of this calculator. I can send you a copy and you can plug in your own numbers with your own research. But let's just walk through it one more time. If a client came to us and said, Jason, if we spend $1,000, what could we expect? And what would happen if we spent $2,000 or $3,000? We don't have to really guess at what should happen. We know what should happen. So in this case, $1,000 spent in, we'll say, Sarasota, Florida, at $4 as a cost per click, we'd get 250 clicks. 3% of those would contact us, which would mean we would get 8 inquiries for care. With a 38.4% inquiry to admission ratio, that gives us 3 new clients, which means for $1,000, I get 3 new clients. And if it was an average lifetime value of $15,000, then that $1,000 could result in $45,000. So come full circle, it's no surprise that if we look at the benchmarking report and we go to that page 150, actually we'll go to page 23, what we see there, not only is pay-per-click one of the top marketing sources, but it also has one of the lowest median customer acquisition costs, and it also has one of the highest inquiry to admission ratio. Just think about that. The lowest customer acquisition cost with one of the highest inquiry to admission ratios. So it's no wonder that pay-per-click is a popular source of home care clients. So I hope you found that helpful. And again, you can leave a comment in the comments section and I'd be happy to answer your questions. And I'd also be happy to share this calculator with you so you can use it for your own budget. That's it. Thanks.